أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ولا تسبوا الذين يدعون من دون الله فيسبوا الله عدوا بغير علم كذلك زينا لكل أمة عملهم ثم إلى ربهم مرجعهم فينبئهم بما كانوا يعملون.
And do not insult those they invoke other than Allah, lest they insult Allah in enmity without knowledge. Thus we have made pleasing to every community their deeds. Then to their Lord is their return, and He will inform them about what they used to do.
Mohammed, messenger of God? Who gave him this authority?
God sent Mohammed as a mercy to mankind.
"600 years after Christ died, when Europe was sunk in the Dark Ages and everywhere the old civilizations were falling, Mohammed was born in Mecca, in Arabia. Mecca was then a rich trading city, ruled by its merchants, whose wealth was multiplied by a unique privilege. They housed the gods. Every year, at the time of the Great Fair, the desert priests brought their idols and the images of their gods into the custody of the Kaaba. Once the most holy shrine of Abraham, the Kaaba had now become a house of idolatry, boasting no fewer than 360 different gods. Mecca, in 610 A.D.
If you do not restrain your nephew, then we will. He's dividing the city, hut against house. He's dividing the generations, child against parent.
The young are listening to him. He attracts the young.
We are Arabs. We obey our fathers. Our children cannot be our teachers.
How can we accept that a man we met in the street yesterday can be some God's prophet today?
Dead bones can live again, he says, because he who created man can also make man return from the dead, he says.
The gods might leave us and give their benefits to another city.
Tell him. We will give him authority, position, the keys to the Kaaba, and money, what money he wants. Tell him we will give him anything he wants.
In your childhood, you were in my arms. I cannot now see you hurt. If you refuse them, they will hurt you. He said this to me. Were they to put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, I would not renounce my message, which is from God.
When the sun is overthrown, when the stars fall, when the mountains vanish, when the camels, big with young, are abandoned, when the wild beasts are herded together, when the seas rise, when the souls are sorted, when the female infant who is buried alive asks for what crime she was killed, when the books are opened, when the sky is torn away, then every soul will know what it has done.
Were you there, Jafar, when God gave him these words?
Amma.
You kept your mother awake all night with worry.
I'm sorry, Father.
Where were you? Have you been with Mohammed again? Forgive him. It was my fault. I did it.
That God has helped us all our lives.
But it fell. It could not even help itself.
What talk have you been listening to?
The real God is unseen. He is not made of clay.
Ammar, we see the gods in the Kaaba every day. I'm afraid for you. You're listening to people who will hurt you.
I'm listening to Mohammed, Mother.
Mohammed is generous, yes. He gives, he shares. He'll pass no man without a smile. But he is spreading dangerous ideas.
Dangerous ideas? That no man should starve? That the rich should not defraud the poor? That the strong should not oppress the weak? Are these dangerous ideas? That girls should not be forced into marriage, but be able to choose or refuse? Why, only tonight he said, stop the burial of newborn girls.
I was fortunate, always fortunate with your mother.
Yes. But you know that you and I nearly never met, Yassar. And you were nearly never born. I was to be buried, like my two sisters. But my father couldn't do it. He couldn't do it a third time. When the second girl was being... When my father was putting sand over her, she took hold of his finger the way a baby does. He told my mother that it was a minute before the tender little grip eased and he dared take away his hand. When I was born, my father ran out of the house screaming that he couldn't do it again, that he could never do it again.
Somaya, it is the custom.
It is wrong. The gods that let such things be are no gods.
I promised to go to Mohammed's house, Mother. We pray there.
Doesn't Mohammed realize we live by giving housing to the gods? We own the Kaaba. Every year the tribes of Arabia come here to Mecca to pray and to buy from us. Now, were we to replace 300 gods with just one, whom we cannot even see, who is supposed to be in Taif and Medina, here in my house, in Jerusalem, on the moon? Where would Mecca be then? The gods are both our worship and our revenue.
You cannot buy and sell God.
You are close to the whip.
Ammar, be sensible, boy.
Mohammed teaches you a slave is equal to his master. Is Black Bilal, whom I paid money for, equal to me?
Yes. Muhammad says, before God, all men are as equal as the teeth of a comb.
Oh, this is a very pleasant idea to slaves and beggars. It gives them pretensions.
Bilal, teach this man the difference between a lord of Mecca and a slave. Take that whip. Lash his face to teach his mouth a lesson. Whip him!
Whip him!
Cut.
Whip him!